Uh-oh. Well, it is the death card. Nurse, you should not be concerned. Death card does not necessarily mean death. In fact, it usually doesn't mean death. It means transformation of sorts. So this could be a transformation for the better, a job promotion. Now,
hey,
let's see what the third card has in store for you.
what is it?
No, it's nothing. You know what am I doing? We're scientists. We don't believe in all that nonsense.
It was unicorns and puppies,
We
right?
are just going to. So, next up is an ASL interpreter, which is appropriate, nurse, because you know what? No one can really see the future. But a big problem right now are those who are hearing impaired. Hearing impaired folks are particularly having difficulties in the current times.
It is true. I just started taking a sign language course. I have to say it's pretty handy.
Nurse, have you really learned any actual sign language?
I just know a handful of words.
You know what? We're going to go ahead and take us away for a little while and do 2 acts for you next. We're going to do Chris Phelps doing sign language interpretation of Better Than None songs, and we're going to feature Pie in the Sky Hoops.
Take it away.
As I went up to the chapel to pray, I saw a man standing in my way. He said, "Hey sister, come and follow me. I've got something that you just must see."
He led me up to the top of the stairs, and I must admit I was a little bit scared. He looked at me and I gasped in surprise at the wonder I saw before my eyes.
It was a big surprise.
No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter the shape, we love them all. Love them when they're gentle, love them when they're strong, but what we love most is a really big ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding.
No better thing had I seen before. I knew in my heart I needed more. I went on a pilgrimage to see what the rest of the world could offer me.
I went to England, I went to France, and I saw everyone given half a chance. From the littlest ding to the biggest chime, each one I saw gave me a hell of a time.
We had a really good time.
Yeah, we did. No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter the shape, we love them all. Love them when they're gentle, love them when they're strong, but what we love most is a really big ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding.
To see just one could be quite grand. It's best when you grip them in your hand. Shake them with vigor, swing them with vim. Polish them up if they seem dim.
And they always seem dim.
I know, especially the pretty ones.
Most places have only 1 or 2, and I guess that will have to do. But some places have dozens, from lower to higher, all joining together like a beautiful choir.
A giant dong choir.
No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter the shape, we love them all. Love them when they're gentle, love them when they're strong, but what we love most is a really big ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding diddle 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 ding dong ding dong ding.
When I was just a little nun, as I slipped into bed, my mother superior would tell such tales to fill me with deep dread. But the one that set my knees to knock and made me lose all hope were the dreadful tales that she would tell of the pirate Pope. She would say he's fierce as lightning and he's hard as a stone, and you know him by his mitre emblazoned with skulls and bones. He's dressed up all in shadows and he's over 6 feet tall. He carries a staff of driftwood and one gnarled weathered claw. I got a little older and my fears melted away. I got upon a sailing ship one fine and sunny day. We set out on the ocean blue without a glance behind, and silly tales of pirate popes were furthest from my mind. She would say he's fierce as lightning and he's hard as a stone, and you know him by his mitre emblazoned with skulls and bones. He's dressed up all in shadows and he's over 6 feet tall. He carries a staff of driftwood and one gnarled weathered claw. That very night in darkness, it took us by surprise. Our tiny craft was set upon by a ship of immense size. Black sails and moldy planking were all that I could see. A cackle loud as thunder brought me to my knees. The moment we were captured and dragged before a throne, before my eyes I saw the mitre bedecked with skulls and bones. Around a staff of driftwood, a weathered hand did curl, but Mother Superior was totally wrong. The pirate Pope's a girl. Whoa! We could see she's fierce as lightning and she's hard as a stone, and I knew her by her mitre emblazoned with skulls and bones. She's dressed up all in shadows and she's over 6 feet tall. She carries a staff of driftwood and one gnarled weathered claw. She looked at me with piercing eyes. She said, "Oh, sister dear, have you ever longed to sail the world from pier to shining pier?" In truth, that very longing I never had confessed, and so I looked her in the eyes and shyly answered yes. So watch you on your travels, not foot, not horse, just boat, or you may run afoul of the dreadful pirate Pope. Keep an eye on the horizon, heed each passing wave, or else the pirate Pope and I will pray you to your grave. Or else the pirate Pope and I will pray you to your grave.
That was so amazing. I loved all of that, especially those big spinning circles. They remind me of pie. Do you guys know about pie? It's not just the food. Did you know that 3.14% of sailors are pirates? Ooh. And actually, the roundest knight at King Arthur's table was circumference because he ate too much pie.
Oh, come on.
And actually, a mathematician told me pie are squared. And I'm like, no, pies are round.
Oh, okay,
Eggs are square.
Stop it, nurse, please, for the love of God. Okay, listen. We want to keep offering you our line of healthcare products. Okay, so the next thing we have for sale is a special serum. That's right, and the nurse is going to show you what we've got to offer you, because we collected the pooled serum of about 100 daycare workers and preschool teachers. Now, those are the type of people whose immune systems are so strong they could bench press 300. So if you give us a $200 payment, we will give you some of the strongest serum known to man. And for anybody who's had a toddler spit in their mouth in the course of their work, you will know what I mean. All right.
And we'll have that delivered right to you.
Oh, yes. Well, moving away from things that are fit for children, we would like to sing for you a little bit of our song, which was originally called Rear Entry, but we have again modified it for the current era.
In our medical clinic, we get lots of supplies, but we're blessed by having so many hot delivery guys.
The problem with them is that they often intrude. They stick their big packages right in our face. It's disruptive and quite rude.
So rude and unhygienic. They have to put their package somewhere is what they say. But it could be covered with COVID, so keep that thing away. Leave it by the back door.
That's right. You know, it is possible that some of you were expecting us to sing the actual song that we have, but no. That is restricted for body scenarios. That's right. We do not want to bring out the naughty part, but we do sell it on our CD. However, if you stick around till the very end, if we get the buyer leave, we might just go ahead and trot out the whole thing. All right. Well, you know, I have to say, Nurse, that I am really looking forward to hearing the next act, which is The Lute and the Lady.
The Lute and the Lady.
That's
Ooh,
right.
Do you know what you get when you play the lute for way too long?
No. What do you get if you play the lute for way too long?
Minstrel cramps.
Oh, boy.
You see what I did there? It was medical, and it was about a lute because the lute and the lady is up next, and the ladies, they get the minstrel. Anyway, did you hear about the bard that was in the Army?
I did not hear about the bard that was in the Army.
He was a lieutenant.
Oh, come on. Give me a break.
Oh, I have bad news. Did you hear that the music store where you get your guitar, they were robbed last week?
What? Really?
I know, the thieves made off with the lute.
Oh, you know what? Before the Lute and the Lady comes on, I think we've got to just stop these jokes, okay?
Oh, fine.
Okay, but don't worry, we've got more in store for you. I'll have to see if I'll take a turn telling the jokes. But let's go ahead and turn it over right now to the Lute and the Lady.
We are the Lute and the Lady. Hello, we are the Lute and the Lady. I am a black widow who cannot seem to kill her husband. And he is an absent-minded musician who cannot seem to die. If you would like us to come to your fair, we would be glad to do so. Because he can't seem to die, so there you go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. About a girl, I'll sing a song, so rickety-tickety-tin. Not only did she do them wrong, she did every one of them in, did every one of them in. I don't know this girl at all. One morning in a fit of pique, rickety-tickety-tin, one morning in a fit of pique, she drowned her father in the creek. The water tasted bad for a week, and we had to make do with gin, had to make do with gin. Oh my gosh, at least scotch, tequila, something, come on, really? Jeez. Her mother, she could never stand rickety-tickety-tin. Her mother, she could never stand, and so a night cyanide soup she planned. The woman died with a spoon in her hand, and her face in a hideous grin, face in a hideous grin. Okay, so who has a sister? Do you have a sister? Do you like your sister? She set her sister's hair on fire, rickety-tickety-tin. She set her sister's hair on fire, and as the smoke and flames rose higher, danced around the funeral pyre, playing her violin, playing her violin. Okay, so who has a brother? Anybody got a brother? I have a brother. She weighed her brother down with stones, rickety-tickety-tin. She weighed her brother down with stones and sent him off to Davy Jones. All they ever found were some bones and a occasional piece of skin, occasional piece of skin. See, you have to have a little skin in the game, or you don't know what to do. Just say, who's got a baby brother? Anybody got a baby brother? One day when she had nothing to do, rickety-tickety-tin, one day when she had nothing to do, she cut her baby brother in two and served him up as an Irish stew. Tasty. And invited the neighbors in, invited the neighbors in. Tastes just like chicken. Just gotta say. At last when the police came by, rickety-tickety-tin, at last when the police came by, her little prank she did not deny. To do so, she would have told a lie. And lying she knew was a sin. Lying she knew was a sin. She didn't like the sins. My little tale I won't prolong, rickety-tickety-tin. My little tale I won't prolong, and if you do not enjoy my song, you've yourself to blame if it's too long. You should never have let me begin. Never have let me begin. So about now, actually before now, we would have pulled your beautiful, gorgeous, very innocent children up on stage with us to play instruments with us at the same time as we sing about death and destruction, because, you know, that's the macabre way of doing life, teaching them about love and life and what it is. Because if there's anything in life, it is about love, right? This is my first husband. He gave me his heart. Oh, he was very, very loyal. This is my second husband. He was very, very good with his hands. Oh, so good with his hands. My third husband, well, you don't need to know about that. That's in a box for later. And this is my fourth husband. I wonder what he will give me. But let's sing a song about my second husband, my handsy husband. I hold your hand in mine, dear. I press it to my lips. I take a healthy bite from your dainty fingertips. My joy would be complete, dear, if you were only near. But still I'll keep your hand as a precious souvenir. The night you died, I cut it off. I really don't know why. 'Cause every time I kiss it, I get blood stains on my... Oh, well, we don't need to talk about that, do we? I'm sorry now I killed you, for my love is so unkind. Until they come to get me, I shall hold your hand in mine. Sing about your best friend, my dear.
My best friend? Oh!
Oh, there goes the phone. You got blown away. Amazing. Ah! And you're going to get a little boob in the process, and that's what's going to happen. Just keep playing. You can even edit this out of the video because that was perfect. Just keep playing. Just keep playing. Not yet. Not yet. Stop.
Oh.
And...
I hold your hand in mine, dear. I press it to my lips. I take a healthy bite dainty fingertips. My joy would be complete, dear, if you were only here. But still I keep your hand as a precious souvenir. That night you died, I cut it off. I really don't know why. For now each time I kiss it, I get blood stains on my tie. I'm sorry now I killed you. Our love was something fine. Until they come to get me, I shall hold your hand in mine.
Such a love story. Now we have lots of other songs like that. We're only doing 3 for you tonight. We have ones that pull your children in and possibly take them away. We also have ones that talk about kilts and what should be not with underneath them. And we have the last song that we do for you, which is always a little bit of poisoning some pigeons in the park. It's almost Sunday. Spring is here. Spring is here. Life is Skittles and life is beer. I think the most wonderful time of the year is the spring. I do, don't you? I know you do. For there's one thing that makes life complete for me, that makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. On Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The world seems alright, everything seems so bright when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La, 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 la.
We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call it impiety and lack of propriety, and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion
That we know of.
to want to dispose of a pigeon.
So it's Sunday, you're free. Maybe you'll come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a pigeon or two as we poison the pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment.
Except for the few we take home to experiment.
Oh, yes! My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon.
It just takes a smidgen
To poison a pigeon in the park. La, 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 la. That and so many other things happen when you bring us to your fair. We do lots of things and we stroll down the aisles. We get your children involved to be able to play instruments with us, and they come up and we talk to them about what the lute is. We give lots of different information about the lute, but we also talk about the different things and get them involved and get all of your people involved. That's what we do if we come to a Renaissance fair for you. So knowing that, know that we miss you. social distance for now, but later we will be able to come up to you. You will be able to love us, follow us. Please give to the link that we left in the comments, and we will be able to come to you very soon, hopefully. Thank you so much for who you are and what you've done in our lives. We miss you and love you so very much.
All right. Hi, listen, I want to shout out Lute and the Lady. You know, there is something about just seeing that video and recalling how wonderful it really is to be at festivals in person. And one of the things that I really miss is just, you know, being able to do that. But as you well know, we are not supposed to be within 6 feet of each other. That's right. And that brings us to the next healthcare product that we're going to be selling you. That's right. Because have you ever gone out in public during this quarantine time and felt like people around you were just getting too much up in your grill and they needed to step off just a bit? Well, we have ways of ensuring that happens. For the low price of $20, we will give you a dietary supplement that will help you emit gases that keep everybody at least 6 feet away from you. Our first trial patient, Rich Johnson, used these to great success of making sure there was plenty of space around him. We recommend taking this 3 hours before you go out in public. But what if I forget to take it 3 hours before I go out in public? Well, for another steal at $20, we will give you a shorter acting, but just as potent breath gas changer. So if you eat these, you will have a similar effect to keeping people way far away from you. So think about that. One thing that the nurse and I did forget to mention when we were talking about our Venmo account is that any monies that we earn today get split 50-50 with charity. We are going to split, yes, split half of those donations and half of those proceeds from sales of our CD, and we're going to take that money towards charitable causes. Of what we give to charity, we're going to give half to Rescue Foundation and half to our usual charity, the American Cancer Society, because the only thing that stinks worse than having cancer is to need chemotherapy in the middle of the pandemic. So we are going to talk about some changes in medicine, although the more things change, the more they stay the same, right, nurse?
It's true. It's true.
One of our policies has actually stayed the same. We never make house calls.
Wait, isn't there more to that song?
I don't think there needs to be.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty self-explanatory.
But some people are kind of lonely, and they still need to see a medical professional. I think we have something for them.
Yeah, we are actually doing telehealth.
We are. We have a special telehealth number. If you call us at 1-900-555-55555, you can talk to me, the nurse, at a low price of $9.99 a minute, and I will see to your every need. I will make sure you are well cared for. Call me.
This is all accurate information, but the voice is unnecessary.
Somehow we make more money when we talk like this.
Oh, good goodness. Okay, listen. All right, up next will be a leatherworking display from Ogre Leatherworks.
Ooh, yes. Leather. Ooh, do you know what sounds like a sneeze and is made of leather?
What?
A shoe. Hey, oh, Sorry, I forgot. No sneeze jokes.
Okay. Well, what other jokes do you have, nurse, that aren't nearly that scary?
Do you want me to do this one, or are you going to do that one?
Oh, I can tell a joke. That's
okay.
Right. So, a leatherworker was stranded on a deserted island. Oh, desperate to survive, he searched the island for food to eat. Luckily, he finds a herd of docile cows on the island. He successfully hunts one of the cows and skillfully cleans and prepares the cow's skin and meat for himself. With a steady supply of food, the leather worker knew it was time to find a way off the island. You know what he did, nurse?
What?
He decided to make a large canopy out of the cow's leather. to be easily seen from above. A day later, the leather worker was spotted and rescued from the island. And it all goes to show that when all else fails, the best thing to do is hide in plain sight.
You get the spray.
Oh, that. Hey.
Anyway.
Well, we do have to move along, unfortunately. I had some more like that. But
oh, no, I think it's fortunate. Let's see the leatherworking now from Ogre Leatherworks. Don't forget to follow the chat for how you can contribute.
Good evening. My name is Valdemar the Mighty, and I am the owner, proprietor, and the artist for Ogre Leatherworks. And you have a rare opportunity, my friend. You get to witness a master leather crafter showing you the art of leather tooling and leather carving. Well, maybe not a master, but I'm very good. Alright, so I'm not very good, but I can show you a thing or two. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So to get started, I want to start real quick by showing you the tools of the craft. Now, for any aspiring leather crafter, you'll want to pick up a few of these at least. There's some basic ones that I think you will definitely need, and there are some that I think would just be helpful, and then there are some that are for more unique and specialized tasks. So let me start by going over some of the basics. First off, you need a block of wood. The block of wood is very imperative because if you're going to be pounding on leather with hammers and tools, you want something sturdy beneath it. Having a nice block of wood will protect whatever table and surface you're working on from damage. So if you've got fine stone or fine woodwork, you don't want to damage that fine table of yours. So that is number one. Get yourself a block of wood, something you don't care about. Next, you're going to need a hammer, a wooden mallet. This works very, very well. Most young artisans start with a wooden mallet. They're easy to find. They're like $1 or $2. They're very, very cheap, and they will serve you very well. For those of you who want a little bit more of an advanced feel, you can always pick up a rawhide hammer. This is rawhide that is spun together and soaked in wax. This provides a very, very nice surface. There's a little bit more springiness to it when you're hitting your tools, and you will get an overall better feel. These will run you a little bit more, but it's well worth the investment. If you're going to be doing this for a lifetime, this tool, this hammer, will last you that entire lifetime. Lastly, it might be sometimes handy to have a ball peen hammer. You aren't going to use this for tooling necessarily, but you may use this for things like riveting or other such work where you need a little bit extra weight. Typically speaking, this sort of hammer, it's too much for the job. It's a little bit more weight and strikingness that you actually don't really need for leatherworking, but it can be helpful in a pinch. So, hammers. Now, of course, you're going to need a bowl and some sponges. You're going to need to keep your leather damp as you are working on it. Dry leather doesn't really take an imprint very well, and it's much harder to work. And it springs back out. But if you get the leather damp, it'll hold that impression much, much longer, basically permanently. So having yourself a bowl and some sponges will work. This here is a natural sponge. If you are like me and a Viking, someone who lives in the medieval period, as we like to say, this is what would be available. It's a natural sponge, comes out of the ocean, attracts fuzz and hair and all sorts of things. But natural sponges, they're still easy to find. However, we live in the modern era. Having a more regular sponge or a modern sponge, totally fine. It doesn't matter. You're an artisan. You can use whatever works best for you. I give you permission. Have yourself a bowl. Any old bowl will work. Mine is broken. This used to be a food bowl. Holds water well enough. Don't need a lot, just to keep it damp, really. So, those are the basic tools. Next, you're going to need the leather, of course. Any good artisan who wants to work with leather is going to need vegetable tanned leather. This leather, it is very, very good for tooling purposes. It holds its imprint well. The tanning process typically would have been done with vegetable products, bark, oak, something like that. There's other types of things that the tanners will use, but what the end result does, it gives you this nice, very soft texture. but it's also very firm leather. It will come in many different shapes and weights. Most of these are going to be split hides, where they're not the full hide of the animal. They've actually cut it horizontally to split off more leather off of it, whether to get suede or some other kind of leather purpose. This particular leather here, this is the outermost epidermis of the animal. So it's been removed of the hair, but the actual epidermis is still intact. What this does, it gives you a nice smooth surface, and that is going to be where your imprint is going to go. The backside, you can see it is much rougher. The underside of the leather is much rougher. You can see it's got a different grain structure. I don't know if you can see that here. And so this is going to be the backside of the leather. We're not going to tool in this, but there are many things you can do with that leather to make it smoother or to affect the overall finish and appearance of whatever item you're working on. So that's the leather. Next, you're going to need a number of other tools. First off, you're going to need some sort of shear, something to cut the leather with. These are a set of small shears. They come in larger sizes. Leather shears are much more heavy duty. The reason you need a heavy duty set of shears is because leather is not easy to cut through. Shears do a very lovely job for thinner leather. If you have a thicker piece, you may want to get yourself a sharp hobby knife. This particular knife here is very, very good. It's kind of like an X-Acto knife, but a little bit thicker. You can see the different shape of the blade. This is very good for cutting thicker leathers. This particular leather here, this is about 6 to 7 ounce leather. The ounce refers to the thickness of the leather, the density of it. When you're doing leather tooling, you probably want something at least 5 ounce or heavier. 3 ounce, it gets very, very shallow. The imprint doesn't hold very well. You need something that has the depth to hold a deep imprint. So 5 ounce is going to be great. 3 ounce, not so much. It'll get a very shallow imprint. 7 ounce is going to be much, much better in terms of taking a deeper imprint. The weights go all the way up to 12 ounce, 11 to 12 ounce. They come in categories of 2 ounces at a time. And so you can go as high as 11 to 12 ounce. However, that's more of the type of leather you'd want for armor or other thick projects that you're going to be doing. 7 to 8 ounce leather, that's going to do you just fine. So that's the leather. That's knives. In addition to that, you're going to want another kind of knife called a swivel knife. This knife here, it actually, like it's called, it swivels. So you can put your finger in this little U-shaped piece here, and it actually swivels around. So while you're holding it, thusly, with your finger in the U-shaped part here, and it pinch between your fingers, you can actually roll it in your fingers, and it actually will change the draw angle as you're moving around the leather. So very, very important to have a swivel knife. I have two. I have a nicer one here, has a little bit of a rubber handle on it. They also have different heads on them too. This has a flat, straight edge. I like it because of the size of my hand. I tend to push my finger over and draw backwards. You can get them like my hobby knife, where they are angled, if that is more to your liking. Do what is right for you. Take the tools that you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable with it, stop using it. Do whatever makes you happy. This is your craft, not mine. I'm just showing you my craft. Not a problem. Other tools of the trade. Of course, you're going to want some things to puncture the leather and also to put your imprint into the leather. So I'm going to show you two of the main tools that you will use. I'm going to show you three, actually. All right. Starting with this tool here. This is a tracing tool. This tool here is what you're going to use to literally trace your design onto your leather. You can freehand it or you can use a pattern. It doesn't matter to me. Do what's right for you. But you'll want to have a tracing tool, something that you can use. It's got a very dull tip. I don't know if you can see that there, maybe in front of my face. So it has a very dull tip. If you push hard enough, it will puncture the leather. However, this tool here is going to allow you to trace onto it. It has a bit of an angle to it, if you can see that. That way you can hold it at an angle to your leather, kind of like you're holding a pen or a stylus, and you can drag it across the leather. It also has a spade on the back side of it here, as you can see. It is slightly curved. That spade is good for erasing errors. So if you make a tracing and you get off the line, you can sort of rub it out a little bit and erase it. That will not truly erase the mark, but it does hide it a little bit more and mask it. That way it's easier for you in the future to work around that mistake you may have caused. Next, we're going to go to the sharper implement. This here is an awl. You can see here it is a sharp tip Mine is slightly bent because I've bent it over the years. Nice wooden handle, something to hold on to, but this is very, very handy because since it is sharp, you can puncture the leather and create holes in it. This is good for starting your lacings and such of that nature. There are other tools that are helpful with lacing, but having it all is very, very important. You will want it for sure. Next, I want to show you this tool. This one's very, very important. And I'm actually going to come around and I'm going to show it to you very, very up close. So this tool right here, I don't know if you can see this. This is a beveling tool. What this tool does is it puts an imprint at an angle in the leather. You want to hold it vertical, straight up and down to your leather. And what this does is it'll help you to line the edges of your design and actually give you a much smoother and clear appearance. And it actually will help to raise the design up and make the appearance of the rest of the background depressed into the leather. Beveling tool, this is your bread and butter. You will use this for a lot of edge work. Having a good beveling tool, or 3 or 4, is very nice. Having them in different shapes and sizes, some that have maybe a rounded exterior or a straight exterior can be very helpful to get you around some tight corners. So beveling tool, very, very important. Other tools that I have here. So I have some other tools that have different designs on them. I will show you just a few of them. I have some that are similar to stamps that have a preset design on them. Celtic knotwork, roses, other sorts of figural designs. I have some that have more unique designs to them. This is sort of like a scallop. And I have some that have more textural designs, as you can see here. So each of them will be used for different effects and different purposes to create the overall design with which you are doing. However, you don't need these specialty tools. If you have a bevel, if you have a tracing tool, if you have a swivel knife, you will be just fine. In the next section, we will talk more about the designs that you will use, and we'll look at some of the leather options. So let us talk about designs. This can be, hi Alyssa. The design can be anything you want, really. You can put something figural on here. You can put something knotwork, like a Celtic design or a Viking design. Of course, me myself, I like the Viking designs. Maybe it's not for you. You can put anything you want. You can put a logo, as long as you have permission to use said logo. You can put any sort of thing that your heart desires, a photograph or any sort of artwork or a drawing or sketch, anything that you like. Or you can freehand it. Me personally, I do sometimes do some freehand work. It is fun. It is an excellent way to sort of stretch yourself and your artistry. But all of these things are not necessary if you are not the sort of person to do your own sketches or your own artwork. You can, of course, find many, many designs, both historical and non-historical. This particular one here, as you see, this is a historical design. It's a little bit hard to see, I apologize. This is a historical design. This was found on a stone carving, and I have a tracing of it here. You can use a tracing such as this on top of your leather to draw things on. Now, it is very important when you're doing a tracing that you are very careful to keep the lines together, right? As you're using your tracing tool, you want to make sure that your paper does not get off. Some people will adhere it down with something like tape, modern conveniences. Some people will just hold it in place. For a long project like this, it might be a bit cumbersome to hold it for that long. However, you're welcome to do such a thing. All right, so I hope you can see this a little bit more clearly. We're going to start to trace our design onto our leather, and hopefully you'll be able to get a good idea of what this looks like. I've used this design before. I do enjoy reusing some of these designs. It keeps a little bit of uniformity, etc. So again, I'm taking my tracing tool here. I'm going to hold it in my dominant hand. You will want to use your dominant hand for this. You'll get a little bit more fine control over it. I'm also aligning it because I want to leave a space here at the bottom, if you can see. So I'm sort of using the arc of this circle here to align where this design is going. I don't want to have it overlapping the edge. I want it to be inside the edge, but I want to leave a space here. There's going to be a button or a toggle that will hold this pouch closed. This is a design for a pouch, if you didn't guess. And I want to make sure that I have that space there. So I'm kind of aligning it off. Yes. All right, so I'm just going to pick a specific place. I'm going to start going along with my design. I'm going to start with the tail, That way I can have a good starting and stopping point. So I'm just going to trace along. And as I go, I'm going to just make sure that I'm following the lines nicely. I don't want to overlap some of the other lines. As you can see, this is knotwork, and knotwork has overlapping lines and designs. So I'm trying to make sure that I am tracing it in a logical pattern. I'm following the design as I go. I'm trying to hit the most logical way without missing any lines. Yes? So we're going to do this just for a little bit here, and then we're going to show you what we've done. All right. This may be difficult to see. However, you can start to see that there is an imprint in this leather here. I'm going to move it around a little bit so you can maybe see that better. Maybe in the shadow, I don't know. But the imprint is starting to take shape in the leather. As the light catches it, you should be able to start seeing the imprint. This is going to help bring the design out and help us to see it later. So I would do this for an entire piece, and then I would come back and start the tooling. All right, I finished the tracing. I don't know if you can see it all there, but the tracing is complete. Now all there is left to do is to wet this down and start the tooling process. I'm going to do that now. Now again, just use regular water for this. You want to get the leather damp but not soaking. So you want enough water to get it wet, but not so much water that you have, puddles or anything like that. It's going to turn a nice darker color here. You're going to actually start to see the design come out more and more. That's because the leather is compressed in those areas. So what you want to go for is a nice sort of, caramel color, basically. You know, the color of caramel when it's nicely browned. You want to make sure that it is, damp, but not soaking wet. It's not important to get the entire thing wet. You can if you wish. The main thing you want to do is get your working area nicely wet. I forgot to do the cutting, so it's very important. So we're going to use our sibling tool here, and we're going to cut out these lines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow along the lines that I've just traced out, and we're going to cut an imprint in them. However, I also realized I got my leather wet, and I don't want to be doing this when it's wet. So we're going to let this dry, and we're going to come back and we're going to cut it, and I'll give you a nice close-up, that way you can see it. So the next step is to use our swiveling tool to cut out our design from our leather, now that we have it firmly traced on there. So again, as I described the swivel tool, we're going to hold it thusly with our finger in the U shape here, to where we can hold it like a pencil between our our thumb and our middle finger, and then we can swivel around those lines because they're curved. I'm going to give you a close-up view, that way you can see it a little better. I have the tracing all good from the dragon design. So I'll spend some time cutting this out. We'll see if I can time-lapse this video. If not, then I will just simply show you guys some, and then I will cut it. Okay, cutting is done. As you can see, it is all cut out of the pattern there. And now it is time to start beveling. So again, want to get your piece nice and wet. Sort of that caramel color. You don't want it to be too bad, just, nicely wet. Again, we're going to take our beveling tool here, and we're just going to start beveling out some of these lines here. I'm going to take my beveling tool, I'm going to start with the rounded bevel, and I'm going to go on the inside of this line here, okay? I'm just picking up my bevel and moving it ever so slightly around this curve. Just going back inside that line, smoothing out any places where it may be a bit uneven. And there you have it. A beveled line starting to pop out the design there. Yes? Now I have a straight back beveling tool that works a little bit better for doing the outside of lines, outside of curves. We're going to do that on this curve here. Again, you can see as I'm beveling this out that it is raising the design up from the piece. So I would do the beveling for this entire piece. Now that is a time-consuming process. A piece like this could take up to an hour or two just to do the beveling alone, not to mention any background texturing you may want to do. Depends on your skill level. May take an hour, may take 2 hours, might take longer. It depends on your patience, your skill level, and how much you want to do on it. So we're going to put this aside, and I'm going to show you a piece where the beveling is all complete. So this is a piece that I've already been working on. As you can see, all of the beveling is complete, and it is ready to move on to the next step. All of the lines are pulled up. It's very easy to see them, yes? So the next step here is we're going to do some of the work getting it ready to sew it to a pouch or the pieces of a bag or whatever you're going to be affixing it to. This here is going to be a pouch, and this is going to be the flap of the pouch. So I want to actually put some cut pieces in here, or not cut pieces, I want to put some hole punches in here so I can affix it to a bag. I even have the back pieces here, 2 halves of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to punch some holes. Now there are several different types of tools you can use for this. I have here a 4-punch. It'll make 4 slots in a row. This is very, very nice for what I'm going to be doing here because it gives me 4 hole punches in a row along where I'm going. Also, I'm just going to kind of feel out where I want these. I want them about a 1/4 inch in from the edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be terrific in terms of, its placement. I just want the holes to be, in a place where it makes sense. I've also got another one here that is a single slot maker. I'm going to do just like a little slot up from both of those. And we're going to do a line across. And there you have it. We have the beginnings of our holes being punched. Now, these are not quite all the way through, so here's where you need your awl. I'm going to take my awl and I'm going to poke through the rest of the way. I'm going to open up these holes. This will make it easier to stitch. So I'm going to slide my awl. It's got kind of a triangular shape. I'm going to slide it in the slot. I'm going to rotate it. That'll open up that hole. So we're going to do that for all of these. And then I'll be able to easily stitch this onto the bag where the leather is much easier to sew through. Whereas this leather, it's thick, it's tough, it's tanned. and so it's much harder to sew through without pre-cutting your holes. Now again, you can use a hole punch that cuts material out, or you can use these that make a slot, and then you can poke through with your awl. It's really up to you. You can do whichever you wish. I prefer this method. I think it goes a little faster. And it makes less mess because I'm not cutting pieces out of my leather. And there you have it. Holes ready for stitching. So I would also be doing an attachment point here. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to do that today, but I would do another attachment point, and then I would align it on my bag piece before I stitch the bag together. I want to affix these pieces onto it. So I would affix this on here. I'd have another attachment point here. The belt, you'd wear it on your belt. You could put the belt through this section here. And there you have it, the beginnings of a pouch. So I hope that this tutorial was instructive. As you can see, there are many different applications you can do with this. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, this instructional video about how to do leather tooling, design work, that sort of thing. The sky's the limit with this, my friends. You can take this to doing set pieces that are strictly artwork that you hang on the wall. You can make armaments, you can make pouches and boots and all sorts of leather goods. You can make clothing and hats, whatever the heart desires, bracelets, jewelry, anything. Please look up your local leather shop, support your local businesses. Those leather shops are in desperate need of help. And if you are so inclined to tip as a result of watching this video, I have a lovely charity that is linked below. Please do send them a tip. It all goes to a good cause, to a local school here in St. Louis, Missouri. Local schools here in St. Louis are always in need of assistance. So please do give to your local charities. And that is all for now. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care.
Was that good?
Are we on? Hello, hello. That was so educational. Wow.
Ogre Leatherworks, amazing.
And they are also donating their tips, so make sure you check that link out.
You know, that is one of those things that's just so unique about Renaissance festivals, right, Nurse?
Yep, people just care. They care. So one of the things that I love about this is the audience interaction, and it's so hard for us not to have you visible to us in the audience, but you have a way you can chat in the comments. So type in the comments if you have ever been to a theme wedding, maybe one at a Renaissance festival. Type what the theme was or which festival it was at, because I just got invited to a Game of Thrones theme wedding. Where do I even find formal chainmail? Actually, I think I do know a guy, but anyway, do you know how expensive it is to stay in a castle? My friend keeps telling me it's going to be so much fun. We'll be all dressed up, and we're going to have mead and carrots and beef and roast pigeon, and the Lord and Lady are going to host the event as the parents. But I don't know. I think the father would have been way happier if the groom wasn't marrying his sister.
All right.
Anyway,
shortly we will have the Bilge Pumps.
Shortly. That's the only way you do anything. Look.
Force perspective. Oh, I'm Hagrid.
Anyway, I have some great pirate jokes. What does a pirate pay for corn? A buccaneer. What does a pirate pay to get his ears pierced? A buccaneer. What does a pirate pay for his new hook and peg leg? Nope, it's an arm and a leg. What did the first mate see down the toilet? The captain's log. Anyway, a pirate was dying, and I saved his life because I am a hero. I gave him CPR. Do you know why pirates don't shower before they walk the plank? Because they just wash up on shore later. Do you know how to make a pirate angry? Get rid of the pee.
Nurse, stop! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I got them all in there.
Oh no! This is terrible. This is terrible. Listen, we are probably just going to get fired from being hosts after that string of these terribly long jokes.
It was great. It was great. They loved it. They loved it. I can feel the love. Put the little heart thing where it like looks like it's raining hearts. Make it do that.
But we are pretty excited because we do love our pirate musicians, and there are no shortage of them, right, Nurse?
No, I love the pirates.
So the Bilge Pumps are up next, and are we ready to go ahead and put them on? All right, we're going to go ahead and cut to them now.
Excellent, excellent.
On the first day of quarantine, my true love gave to me a 12-pack of soft TP. On the second day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the third day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the fourth day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the fifth day of quarantine, my true love gave to me 5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the sixth day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the seventh day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
7 cases of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the eighth day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the ninth day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
9 frosted Pop-Tarts,
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the 10th day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
10 bags of Fritos,
9 frosted Pop-Tarts,
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the 11th day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
11 bologna sandwiches,
10 bags of Fritos,
9 frosted Pop-Tarts,
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the 12th day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
12 AA batteries,
11 bologna sandwiches,
10 bags of Fritos,
9 frosted Pop-Tarts,
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP.
12. There's 14 days and 2 weeks in the quarantine. We've got to put in 2 more verses. Anybody got something? Oh,
I thought we were done.
On the 13th day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
13 homemade kids' crafts,
12 AA batteries,
11 bologna sandwiches,
10 bags of Fritos,
9 frosted Pop-Tarts,
8 cans of chili,
7 bottles of water,
6 Clorox handy wipes,
5 bottles of hand sanitizer,
4 cans of Lysol,
3 N95 masks,
2 latex gloves
and a 12-pack of soft TP. On the last day of quarantine, my true love gave to me
shower gel, and a shaver.
13 homemade kids crafts.
12 AA batteries.
11 bologna sandwiches.
10 bags of Fritos.
5 frosted Pop-Tarts.
8 cans of chili.
7 bottles of water.
6 Clorox handy wipes.
5 bottles of hand sanitizer.
4 cans of Lysol.
3 N95 masks.
2 latex gloves.
And a 12-pack of soft TP.
The Bilge Pumps.
That was beautiful, beautiful.
That was-
Do you know that for me, all the days of quarantine kind of start blurring together, one to the next?
Oh, I remember the 5th day of quarantine.
Oh, yeah, what was the 5th day of quarantine?
On the 5th day of quarantine, my true love gave to me high-speed Wi-Fi.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Oh, yes, because you know what we need to do all the time?
Well, all those Zoom calls,
Those-
one after another.
Zoom calls, am I right,
Yeah.
you old festival folk? It's a pain.
It is just exhausting. That one of our patients actually had a problem too.
Oh, that's right. You know, he was not a big fan of these Zoom calls, I'll tell you that. Ah, excuse me. Hello.
Sure you can.
A patient came to me with a small complaint. He had a Zoom call. His job was making him check in every day. He had a Zoom call. He didn't want to comb his hair or dress up at all. We told him there's a way to deal with that Zoom call. You know, get naked. From the waist down, get naked. You're home and there's no one around. It's acceptable if they can see your genitals. Get naked. The parts out of sight. And just remember, you shouldn't go get a glass of water in the middle of the meeting unless you remember to turn your camera off.
Yes, really. Get naked. From the waist down.
You know what? You're going to have to remind me to call HR after we're done here.
Oh, I've got a Zoom call with them, actually. They were calling that number that I was telling you earlier. Anyway.
Okay, well, I think I'm just in trouble for my Zoom mullet that I had going.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, party in the top, party in the back. Oh, wait,
No,
I said that
it's
wrong.
okay. That's right. We should probably move along.
Yes, we should, because we have another exciting group up next.
Oh, but before that, we just want to throw a shout out to all our friends and all our patients. We miss you so much. You know, I gotta say, one of the people I mentioned earlier and just kind of got me thinking about him is Rich Johnson. Oh, man.
Yeah, we miss all our amazing audience members.
Oh boy, but thinking of Rich Johnson makes me think of that joke you like to tell me.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think everyone would like to hear this one again.
I know.
So we have a patient, and she comes in, and she is just the sweetest little prim and proper lady, and she comes in
like Rich Johnson.
Exactly. And she comes in, and she's kind of hesitating, and she sits in the waiting room, and she fills out her paperwork, and she looks a little uncomfortable, and I call her back, and we're talking, and I find out, you know, what's going on, and she says, it took me a lot of courage even to come in and talk to you about this problem, but this problem is going to start affecting my life. I have a problem with flatulence, and it's very embarrassing, but fortunately for me, at the moment, they're not making any noise, but I'm afraid with the smell, people are going to start realizing it's me. So I call these flatulences my silent emissions. And I was having tea with the Duchess last week, and I had 3 silent emissions. And then I was having dinner with the Duke the following night, and I had 5 silent emissions. And then just now, since we've been talking, I've had 2 silent emissions. Nurse, is there anything you could do to help me? And I said, of course, sweet lady, I can help. The first thing we're going to do is get you a hearing test.
Oh, no. Oh, we're thinking of you, Rich Johnson. I'm just saying.
I don't know why, but just for some reason you come to mind.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll tell you that poor Rich Johnson, you know, he actually had a pretty bad cough the other day.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, no, I wasn't worried about him having anything like a contagious virus, but he did have a sort of a persistent cough.
Uh-huh.
So I was going to give him this really, really potent cough syrup because I thought it would really help him out. You don't want to go around coughing these days. People will put you in jail.
Yeah, because then people, that's actually what all the toilet paper was for.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. So instead of giving him cough syrup, I made a mistake, nurse. I gave him a big bottle of really potent laxative.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, it was a mistake on my part. I will admit it. But the thing is, when I realized that he'd already been home with that medication for a while, so he came in the next day to see me, and I said, oh, I'm so glad you're back. Listen, I think I gave you a laxative, a really strong one, instead of that cough syrup that I meant to give you. Are you doing okay? He's like, not so well. And I said, well, I haven't heard you cough since you've been here. He's like, oh, I've stopped coughing. I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yes, I'm afraid to.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
that's what all the toilet paper.
We're gonna move along.
Anyway, I feel like we have a sword swallower now.
Yes, we have a sword swallower. So, sword swallower.
I feel like that just makes its own jokes. Probably.
Can I tell a joke?
If you do it really fast, because she said he has to count.
Okay. So, a sword master was teaching his students. See that fly, he says, I will put on this blindfold, and I will slash it with the sword. And his students are watching. He suddenly performs one swift stroke of his blade, takes off his blindfold, and bows to his students. I'm confused, says one of the students. The fly is still buzzing around the room. The master replies, that is true, but now the fly can no longer have children. All right.
He's good. He's really good.
It is our pleasure to bring you Cydeshow Cy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and thank you very much for tuning in to witness what is most definitely the most amazing feat of mind over matter, pain tolerance, and death defiance that you shall ever see on this earth. And I am indeed talking about the ancient and deadly art of sword swallowing. My name is Cydeshow Cy. I'm a man of skill, a man of danger, and some would even say, a complete lunatic. Some of you do agree, the rest of you need a little bit more proof. Well, to that, I simply respond in the immortal words of the immortal bard Bruno Mars. Don't believe me? Just watch. Before I begin, I really do have to say this. I know you're not stupid, and this is for any kids and adults watching out there. Again, I know you're not stupid, but I do have to say this anyway. Do not try this at home. I don't even know what I mean by that, because I tried this at home. I guess really think about it. What we're about to see right here is extremely dangerous. It used to be performed as a ritual, and nowadays it's performed as entertainment. A side effect is indeed death. If you're going to try sword swallowing anywhere, try it at a hospital. It will save you lots of time. Furthermore, I would like to propose a toast. If you're holding a drink in your hand, go ahead and hold it up high. If you're not holding a drink, hold up your thumb. We can all participate in this. And repeat after me. For libation. For liberation. For lubrication. Cheers, folks. Please swallow responsibly. And on that note, parents, if your kids get my jokes, that's your fault. But onward and awkward, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We have right here 22 inches of solid stainless steel. These blades do not fold, they do not bend, they do not retract into the handle, and they are not going anywhere except down the hatch without a scratch. Oh, one more thing. Just to ease any of the anxious minds in this audience, I am a trained professional. Should be okay. The odds are ever in my favor.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is 100% solid stainless steel right down my gullet. It is not magic. It is not a trick. It is 100% real. It happened right before your very eyes, and guess what? It's going to happen again. What you're witnessing here is a feat of pure mind over matter. That is, I'm using my mind to control every muscle between my mouth and my stomach, allowing this blade to pass through. I have mastered this skill. I prove it to you now using the drop technique. I'm going to place the blade a quarter of the way in, and then I'm going to let go. And then when I feel myself align, I will loosen all the muscles in my stomach, allowing the blade to literally drop the rest of the way in. Yes, a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more sick. But do not blink, for it happens quick. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The drop technique is a feat of excellence amongst sword swallowers. Every time that I swallow a sword, it literally has to nudge my heart and lungs aside to get to the pit of my stomach. I have seen a doctor. It is indeed true. Therefore, every time I perform the drop technique, it means I have complete and utter control over the insides of my body. And when one has such control, they're able to swallow not just one, not just two, but 3 solid steel blades at the same time. The danger of swallowing 3 blades at the same time is not choking to death on 3 blades at the same time, but it's if the blades were to scissor. If that happens, it's the end of the show. No refunds. But the point is not to do that. But you know, as the old saying goes, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger. Whatever doesn't kill you, or whatever does kill you, is not your problem anymore. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 3 blades at the same time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, even after swallowing 3 blades at the same time, even after showing you that the blades are indeed solid stainless steel, and even after performing the drop technique, which is physically impossible to do with a retractable blade, people still insist that there's got to be a trick to this. That sword swallowing is completely impossible without the aid of a magic blade, with the aid of a certain special prop that where the blade retracts into the handle. And you know what? That breaks my heart. It truly breaks my tiny, twisted, black, icy little heart. Because I have sacrificed so many years of my social life to perfect this. And that's not funny, that's just sad. But seriously, I perform this stunt all over the world, and people will still come up to me and insist that the swords are fake, the swords are fake, the swords are fake, that they gotta be retracting in a handle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is when I pull out one of these blades. And I do mean blade. For I took off the handle off this one, thus to prove that it does not retract anywhere. I'm going to swallow this blade all the way down so close that I can close my lips around the end of it. And then for those of you watching in closely, I shall take a bow and open my mouth, showing you the blade literally down my throat. I do apologize if any of you have already eaten. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 1 blade, no handle, down the hatch. Hopefully, I do not lose it again. Mission accomplished. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sword swallowing is indeed 100% real, proven thus by the handleless blade. Now comes what else the sword swallowers can really do with such an act? It's like, once we prove that it's real, it's like, where else can it go from there? When it seems like every stunt is the same. I take a blade, I swallow it down, I pull it out, I live, and we go on. Well, I am glad you asked. We like to push the boundaries a little bit. Bringing out blades that are a little bit more dangerous, such as this one right here. The Japanese wielded some of the most dangerous swords. The swords of the samurai, the katana, or the shortened wakizashi like I have right here. These blades were definitely a mark of expertise. Blades that were so strong that they could cut a man in half with one clean swipe, chop down trees, even puncture metal armor. Might I also point out, every single one of you knows where this is going and is completely okay with that. My kind of people. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The wakizashi. Down the hatch. Without a scratch. Domo arigato. And that is the extent of my Japanese. Furthermore, I got asked a lot of questions in this profession. Some a little less appropriate than others. But one of the most common ones I'm asked is, do I feel the swords when I swallow them? The honest to God truth is yes, I do. Especially this one. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call the flamberge. It is the longest. It is the heaviest. It is the wiggliest sword I swallow. I feel it all the way from my tonsils down to the fallopian tubes, I guess. Yeah, if you get that, you're a smart person. And you can explain it to all the rest of them. But this one's an extra little bit of fun for you. For I have been told that if you watch closely, and you are indeed lucky, you can actually see the sides of my neck wiggle as the sword goes in and as it comes out. Yes, it's gross, but you'll watch. Woo, yeah. Tickles every step of the way down. I'll tell you another neat little experience that I get every time that I swallow that particular sword is not just the feeling, but how it sounds. For I can hear every step of the way going against my innards. A pleasant little piece of dinner conversation right there. Well, folks, I have just about one more sword left right here to do for you. Before I do, I want to just take another moment and thank you so much for being here and supporting all of us during this trying time during this pandemic. Hopefully we can be back to the Renaissance fairs real soon. And yeah, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you enjoyed this show. Naturally, the better my show I do, the more you will enjoy. One way you can show me enjoy is by rating my show. I hope that you can rate my show, rating it in the amount from 1 to 100 that you can then place either in my Venmo or my PayPal. That'd be greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Every little bit helps, as this is indeed a starving artist during these trying times. So yeah, Venmo is Cyrus-Pin. PayPal is cyruspin@gmail.com. Rate whatever it means to you. Here's what it means to me. $1 means thank you for the show. 5 means I like the show. 10 means I love the show. And 20 or more says, oh my god, the show is so amazing. I want to support you in everything you do and possibly take you home to meet my dad. And if no cash whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, kind word, kind compliment, a virtual handshake, a virtual high five, whatever, or even just going on Facebook or Instagram and finding Cydeshow Cy and following me there to find my other adventures and any other new material that I put out. Any of it really means a whole lot. So thank you so much in advance. I now bring out what is indeed the most dangerous sword I swallow. That is no joke, ladies and gentlemen, and it took me longer to get this one down than it took me to get one sword, period. I like to call this one the $100 sword because a couple of years back, well, pardon the burp, anytime I swallow a sword, it pushes a lot of air down. It's got to come out somehow. Pull my finger. Alright, where was I? I was busking a couple of years ago, and this sword was my finale, and one particular man saw me do it, comes up afterwards, makes eye contact, and places a $100 bill into my hat. It's a true story. It really did happen. Fat chance it could happen again, but hey, a guy can only dream, right? Well, the sword that he saw, ladies and gentlemen, was this one right here. Indeed, the curved scimitar, a blade with a curve close to 90 degrees. As you can see, I have to be very specific. Curving my body close to 90 degrees to fit the curve of this sword, or else it's going to curve right out the side of my body. I don't want to see that either. It's a very scarring image for you, and it takes a zippity right out my doodah. Let's do this one correctly, shall we? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The $100 sword. Onward and awkward. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you know what? You've all been so awesome, and performing really does bring a lot of joy to my heart. I'm going to give you all one more. Hold on one second. We're going to do an extra special little stunt right here, involving two stunts in one. You've seen the sword swallowing happen before. That's mind over matter. We're going to combine mind over matter with balance. That's right, I'm going to swallow this sword right here. I'm going to bounce this juggling knife upright for, oh, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds. Yeah, sure, let's try for 10 seconds. Here we go. Oh, by the way, if you've been wondering why I've been licking these things this entire time, ask your mom and dad. All right, here we go. Try for 10 seconds. well, I build up for something I can't really promise I can do. Here we go. Was that 10? I don't know. It was long enough for me. Folks, again, really appreciate you all being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'll leave my PayPal and Venmo link handles up in the description. But either way, as long as you enjoyed the show, that really means a lot to me. Job well done. Thank you so much. Cydeshow Cy, signing off.
Wow. Cydeshow Cy, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause. That is a true professional. I am very impressed. So impressed that I need to share a couple sword swallower jokes while the doctor's not here to be jealous of how great they are. So, they just found a sword swallower dead. The police suspect it was an inside job. Did you ever hear of the sword swallower who went on a diet? He was on pins and needles for weeks. Did you know that I was the comedic host at a banquet for sword swallowers when a food fight broke out? I killed! Only the true king could remove the sword from the stone. No one else could. Do you know why? They did not have the right authorization. You get that? You get that? Oh no, the doctor's coming back. Quick, she's going to be jealous of my awesome jokes.
It's time for a dance party, y'all. Woo! And turn this stuff up. And if anybody's got their fat stacks ready, let's do this thing. Make it rain, y'all.
Woo! This is worth more than gold.
All right, I think that's enough of that. I'm well stocked.
Never enough of that.
I'm well stocked for the next week.
All right.
Next, we have the Sasanach Fiddles. That's really fun to say. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's how I like to say it.
All I know is I have no idea. What is the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
It's a violin if you're selling it, and it's a fiddle if you're buying it.
Ah.
Cue then.
Hi everyone, my name's Keith Engel. Welcome to our festival. Online, you couldn't come to us, so we came to you. Leaning into a little bit more of a steampunk vibe today. I hope that's okay with everyone. I play traditional Irish music as it's played in an area of Ireland called Slieve-Lucra, where Cork and Kerry meet. It's a slightly different style of the music, and they have different tune types. Might talk a little bit more about that. We'll see. Right now I'm going to play a set of reels. I always forget the names. Maybe I'll think of them later. Right, so I still don't remember the name of the first one of those, but the second and third were called Johnny When You Die and Anything for John Joe. I'm going to follow that with a set of jigs. I don't know which ones yet. We'll find out in just a second. I know some people make up, elaborate set lists and they plan out what they're going to play, and I don't understand those people. Thank you very much. I'm going to follow that with a slow air called Sliabh na Mán. Slow airs in Irish music are usually the tunes for traditional songs. And this particular song is about a battle that took place at Sliabh na Mán, which is a mountain in Ireland. It means the woman's mountain. And I looked up the lyrics for this song to see what it was about, so I could maybe have some idea of how I should play it and have people feel, and the feeling I should try to convey. And the lyrics can pretty much be summarized thusly. Wow, that was a bad idea. We should not have attacked the British without waiting for French reinforcements. Now pretty much everyone we care about is dead. So yeah, it's a happy, happy song. So I'm going to change it a little bit and lean even more into the steampunk thing with, well, how to describe this instrument? Let's say, you know how Frankenstein's monster is the product of mad science? I can only say that this must be the product of mad music. Someone somewhere thought, I want a violin. I don't have a violin. And actually, we know where, in Romania, where these things always seem to happen. They thought, I want a violin. I don't have a violin, but I do have a bugle, a record player, and a stick, and that's practically the same thing. Igor, to the laboratory. I made up that last part, but this is actually a traditional Romani instrument from Kandi Bihor in Romania called vioara cu gorna. A lot of people mistake it for a stro. They're both the same kind of instrument, and there's a very good chance that whoever invented this was familiar with the stro violins. But they are not the same instrument. Stros are constructed differently, and I think it's important for people to know that because this is the product of ingenuity, and Mead and the Romani people making do with what they have, and that's kind of cool and there's to be known about. So because I planned ahead, I need to tune a little bit. It's probably a good time to get yourself a little coffee. If I wind up finding a decent free editing software package, I'll just cut this part out and you won't hear any of this stuff. But if I don't, I'm just going to keep talking a little bit. So I discovered this instrument. There is a relationship between this instrument and Irish music, loose though it is. And that relationship actually has more to do with the stroke. There is a woman, or was a woman, named Julia Clifford, who was one of the foremost proponents of the Sleeve-Luker style of fiddling. And she was gifted, sometime I think around the 1960s, a stro violin. And she just loved it because it was louder than all the other instruments at the session. So she would go to sessions, she would bring that along, and everyone would know she was there. I didn't know anything about stros, and I saw a picture of her with holding that, and I said, I need to own one of those. So the stro violin was invented in the late 1800s for the purpose of playing outdoor concerts. Because those were kind of a fad in the late 1800s. But recorders, microphones weren't invented for some time later. So they kind of had an issue, particularly with stringed instruments, because their sound goes kind of out in all directions. And as a result, people would have a hard time hearing the strings. And eventually they fixed that problem with band shells. But before they came up with that idea, this guy, Augustus Stroh, came up with the idea of using a horn and a diaphragm to point all the sound towards an audience. So as near as we can figure, probably someone who's familiar with these, possibly from the recorded music industry, because these got picked up by the early recorded music industry, because they did a much better job of picking up violins for the same reason that people could hear them better. It pointed all the sound in one direction. Microphones weren't very good at that time. You're basically shouting down a horn and letting the vibrations of their voice or whatever move a needle on a groove of wax. So the stro violin became popular and well known, and so probably someone who worked in the recorded music industry moved back, a Romanian immigrant, moved back to Romania because there was an economic boom there in the very early 20th century. And that's about when this instrument shows up in the Romani traditional music of that area. So, very good chance that he said, well, I don't have a violin, but I'm familiar with this principle, and there's a record player, that's a diaphragm, I can make this work. And so here we have it. And the thing I like about it the most, I'm sure it looks cool as all get out, but what I like the most about it is that because it uses the diaphragm from an old record player, it sounds like an old recording of a violin. So hopefully you'll hear for yourself. I'm just using the microphone that's built into my tablet here because, I'm an advanced recording artist. So what you're going to hear from this, compared to the violin, you're going to hear what I mean. I just got to think of what I want to play on it. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to play, but I usually wear a harness with it because it's weighted strings and it keeps wanting to pull that way. So I'm going to set it aside, but I want you to at least hear it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to wrap up now with one more set of tunes. So I mentioned before there's different tune types in the Schliegeluke area, and one of those types is the polka. Usually people tend to associate polkas with Germany. Of course, Irish play them a little differently. So these two polkas are called John Walsh's, and the funny thing about this music is you tend to think of it as being old. It's traditional Irish music. And, before I tell the story, I'm going to mention John Walsh is an extremely common name. I actually know 4 people by that name just off the top of my head, both in America and in Ireland. I go over to Ireland a couple times a year, and to a little town called Newmarket most of the time. And, I got to know some people there, and my first or second time there, I think the second, I was invited to a section over in Blarney. By the Castle, the Stone, all that sort of thing. And one of the people that came there was someone I'd also been playing with at some of the other sessions. Not in any sort of, he's my buddy, we're getting on a great way, but more like we were playing in the same room at the same time. And he's sitting next to me, and we chatted a little bit, and we played a set of tunes. They're playing really, really fast, and he sat out for those tunes. He went over to me and said, that's great for the young people. This guy was probably around his, I'd say in his 70s. And that's fine for the young people. I prefer a more of a relaxed pace, And was like agreeing with them and thinking, I also can't play that fast, but I wasn't gonna, out myself like that. And someone kind of leaned over to him when they were done playing at this blistering pace. Said, "Oh, did you ever think they were gonna play him that fast when you wrote him?" Turns out I was sitting next to and chatting with John Walsh, someone whose tunes I've been playing for over a decade, and he's just kind of there. So that was kind of pretty neat. So I'm gonna play a set of his polkas, both called John Walsh's. All right, thank you very much. And I just want to give a shout out to the Blonde Swan who made this hat. I bought the hat because a hot chick said it looked good on me, and I was married to her, so I figured I should buy it. After I paid for it, they said, "Oh, can we get a picture of you with the hat on, so that for promotional purposes, and because we like selling things and you look cool in it." I said, "Sure." I said, "Oh, hey, hang on, let me pull out my violin and get a picture with that." I said, "Oh, great." And that's when we realized that my hat matches my fiddle. That wasn't deliberate; it worked out that way, but clearly it worked out well. And also a shout out to Viv Buckley, the artist of the elephant in the room there, the steampunk elephant in the room. I bought that at an art exhibition in Newmarket County, Cork. And yeah, that's about all I got. Again, my name's Keith Engel. At Renaissance Fairs, I also perform under the name of Sasanach. So you can find my music at sasanach.bandcamp.com, Sasanach. It's actually my last name loosely translated into Irish Gaelic. I had never heard of a series of novels of the television series when they started performing with that name 10 plus years ago. But, here we are. So, once again, thank you very much. I imagine there'll be a donation link somewhere around here that you can click. I'd love to, collect your tips and have a great day and enjoy yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask, and wash your hands. Bye now.
The Sasanach Fiddler, everyone. That was Wonderful.
Amazing, amazing. You know what I am missing in this whole activity? I feel like we need some toast. It's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
I'm thirsty after that dance party.
I know. Oh, yeah, all that dancing made me thirsty.
No.
Just in case any of you are worried, she did collect up all that toilet paper for reuse.
For the next dance party.
Yeah. So, join with a toast. Get those beverages. We had the one toast at the beginning. You may have had to refill since then. So lift it up. We're going to go, a toast! That's you, Doctor. You say the toast because I can't hear them.
A toast!
Very good. Thank you. Let's try that one more time. A toast!
A toast!
For every wound, a balm. For every sorrow, cheer. For every storm, a calm. For every thirst, a beer. Drink!
Huzzah!
Oh, that was delicious, but I'm still thirsty. I think one more.
One
Let's try
more,
this
one
again. Ready? A toast!
A toast!
Here's to a long life and a merry one. A quick death and an easy one. A hot man and an honest one.
Yeah.
A crisp wine and another one. Drink!
Amen to all that. That is refreshing.
One more. Oh, one more.
Yeah.
A toast!
A toast!
May the winds of fortune sail you. May you sail a gentle sea. May it always be the other guy who says, this drink's on me.
Aw, I can get behind that.
I know. It's easy. I don't know. Somehow the guys are always buying me drinks. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? That just made me think of a friend of mine who is a lawyer, actually.
Oh, yeah? Does he buy you drinks?
Sometimes. But you know what? He and I were chatting at a party the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and actually it was kind of annoying because I hadn't seen him in a while and I really wanted to catch up. But honestly, while we were having a conversation, so many people kept coming around and talking to me and asking me for medical advice. And, you know, I didn't want to not help them, so I just kept interrupting my conversation with my lawyer friend to help people out. And finally, I did get a little bit irate, and I said to my lawyer friend, listen, I don't like all these interruptions. What do you do when people ask you for legal advice to sort of protect your personal time? He said to me, well, I actually stick a bill in the mail and charge them for that curbside bit of advice that I gave them. I'm like, oh, I guess I could try that. So I went home and I started making out little bills for all the people who asked me advice at that party. And I went to go put those bills in the mailbox, and I found a bill from my lawyer friend waiting for me.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
Actually, speaking of lawyers, have you heard from the hospital lawyers lately? I mean, usually we're having those weekly Thursday hugs, and I haven't had one in weeks, and I'm sad.
No, I have not heard a peep from those hospital lawyers, nurse. You know what? They are far too busy because this pandemic has made their job vastly different.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, because, you know, it's kind of funny. Before, we were the ones in trouble, but now they've got a lot more things going on.
Yep.
Pandemic lawyers have lots to do, thinking of everyone they can sue. City Hall or China too. Pandemic lawyers have lots to do.
Oh, it's true. It's true. You know what?
How are you feeling after those toasts?
I'm feeling like the toast made me feel free and comfortable, and like maybe I should share some of my poetry. You guys want to hear some poetry? Maybe a limerick or two. Now, I didn't write the limericks, but I think you'd like to hear them, right? Okay, ready? On the chest of a barmaid from Yale, were tattooed the prices of ale.
Ale.
And on her behind, for the sake of the blind, was the same information in Braille.
Honk, honk.
Hey.
What?
I've got one more. I haven't told this one before. All right, ready? There was an old farmer named Lear, who possessed a fine cow that gave beer.
Beer.
Budweiser or Schlitz could be tapped from her tits, and pretzels came out the rear.
Honk, honk.
Honk,
all right.
Are you honking the cow? No, that was
I
the first
have
time
no
I told
idea.
that one.
You should go to the next one.
I think she liked it. We're gonna keep that one.
Okay.
Anyway, now after drinking some wine I felt like I should write poetry because when you drink wine, you become an amazing poet.
Oh, good God.
All right, ready? Roses are red. Wine is also red. Poetry is hard. Wine. Thank you.
That's great. I actually enjoyed that
Oh,
much
good.
more than I thought I would.
Wait, I've got one more then if you like that one. I've got one about romance.
The bar was low. Yes.
Romance.
Romance.
Roses are red. Violets are blue.
That is also true.
I'm drunk. Make your own dinner.
I'll keep that in mind, actually. That's not a bad
I
one to
might
have
have stole that
to
from
have
a
in my
magnet.
back
I have that
pocket.
magnet on my refrigerator. Anyway,
you know what we should do? We should start talking about our next guest.
That's probably a good idea.
Oh, yeah. He is a very, very talented musician.
Ooh, so
Vince
I've heard.
Conaway is his name.
Ooh, Vince Conaway. You know what? I heard that he was going to be playing, and so in my researching for all my amazing jokes I've been telling, I tried to find some harpsichord jokes, but I only found one, and it goes like this. The late Sir Thomas Beecham used to say the sound of the harpsichord is like two skeletons making love on a tin roof. But I don't know if I could only find the one joke because harpsichords are just so amazing, or because no one can make fun of them because most people don't even know what they are.
Nurse. No, our next musical guest does not play the harpsichord. He plays a hammered dulcimer.
Oh, well, whatever. Wait, you say this guy is hammered while he plays the dulcimer? I'd like to hear that.
No. He is...
Wait. No, I've got hammered dulcimer jokes. Okay, ready? What's the difference between a hammered dulcimer player driving a car and a frog driving a car? The frog is more likely to be going to a paying gig.
Oh, no.
How do you make $1,000 playing the hammered dulcimer?
How do you make $1,000 playing the hammered dulcimer?
You start with $2,000.
Oh.
What is the song most requested of accordionists? Can you play Far, Far Away?
Accordionists? Listen.
I know, I switched because you're the accordionist. I have like 7 more accordion jokes, but she's saying we have to have the next guy.
Oh, stop. You know, we're going to go ahead and cut away from the nurse's jumbled old music jokes, but we're going to go ahead and bring to the stage the talented, the amazing, the hammered dulcimer player, Vince Conaway.
Good day, my friends. My name is Vince Conaway. I'm here to play some music for you. If you enjoy the show and would like to toss a little something in my virtual tip jar, my Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon links are in my Facebook bio. You can also access everything through my website, vinceconaway.com. I wrote many years ago. I call it Labyrinth. The instrument I have here is known as a hammered dulcimer in English, but you find them all over the world. It was originally invented in the Middle East about 1,000 years ago and came to Western Europe as the Crusaders came home from the First Crusade. It also went east along the Silk Road to end up in China, India, and Korea. The Mediterranean trade routes brought it to North Africa. A little more recently, the conquistadors brought it to the New World in Latin America. A little bit after that, the English and early German immigrants brought it to North America. By the 1600s, the hammered dulcimer is all over the world. However, at that point, they invent the piano. They put a keyboard on top of the dulcimer to mechanize the striking mechanism. And in one stroke, the dulcimer was nearly made obsolete. It was almost forgotten. However, you still find it played throughout the world in mountainous rural regions because pianos are really heavy. So the dulcimer is still very popular today in the mountains of Bavaria on the border of Germany and Austria. It is very popular on the Greek island of Crete. They still play it in Iran and throughout the Middle East. It is played in China, Korea. A particular regional variation of Mexican mariachi music. And in North America, it is most often known for its place in bluegrass music. Which brings us to a bluegrass track. And I originally learned this song because I like the title. It's called Whiskey Before Breakfast. Like to tease me because I enjoy playing fast. However, that's the actual tempo of that song. Bluegrass musicians are my kind of nuts. So in my career, I have been very fortunate. In addition to Renaissance festivals and medieval events, I have been able to travel almost every year, and sometimes multiple times in a year, to Europe, where I perform as a street performer, as a busker. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to be there now. But the situation worked out differently. This song Santa Maria number 166, and I was playing this on the streets of Reggio di Calabria. If you look at your map of Italy, it's here. And I was playing this song on the streets of Reggio, and a woman came up and started singing along in 13th century Latin-inflected Galician dialect Spanish. We finished the song, and I said, "That was amazing, you have made my day." And she said, no, it's no big deal. My husband teaches medieval music here at the university. Fantastic. So a few months later, I'm playing at the Sterling Renaissance Festival, and there's a woman on cast who speaks Italian. So we're chatting back and forth because it's not a skill I get to practice very often. And eventually I asked, I said, "How do you speak such beautiful Italian?" And she says to me, "Oh, my parents are immigrants. We're from Italy." "I have been all over Italy. Where are you from?" And she said, "Oh, we're from the south. We're from Calabria." And I said, "Really? I just had an amazing time in Reggio." And she says, "Oh, my uncle teaches medieval music at the university there." So apparently it's a small world. next song is a little more recent. This is a Renaissance Italian tune written by the great 16th century composer Vincenzo Galilei. Sadly, Vincenzo is mainly forgotten today because his kid was Galileo. However, in early music, Vincenzo Galilei is kind of a big deal. Among other things, he helped to invent opera, although personally I have forgiven him for it. However, of course, all that was eclipsed when his kid invented science. Also, get it? Eclipsed, because astronomy? Alright, back to the music. In my travels, I have been fortunate enough that I have been able to play this song on Vincenzo Galilei's very front porch in Pisa. At least until the person who currently lives there came out of the balcony and I got yelled at a little bit, and since technically it's not a legal place to play, I moved a half block on to where I was technically allowed to play. However, it was kind of a thrill to be able to play a song by Galilei at the home of Galilei. It's a saltarello. Friends, the time has come for the final song of the set. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your attention. As I said earlier, if you'd care to drop something in my tip jar, you can find my Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon links both in my Facebook bio and on my website, vinceconaway.com. I'm going to finish up with another song that I wrote a number of years ago. I call it February, and I was playing this song on the streets of Naples, Italy. Here. Actually, a little more here. And I was playing this song, and a cop comes up and stands right next to my dulcimer. And as a busker, I have a very fraught relationship with law enforcement, so I just want him to go away. He's making me really nervous, and he's just standing right there. And in Italy, you're not usually in big trouble if you're doing something you're not supposed to musically in the street. They just wait for you to pause, tell you to go away. And I don't want to pause so he can tell me to go away. So I'm just keep playing, and the cop is right next to my dulcimer. And I reach a point eventually where the song is over. If I'm honest with myself, the song has been over for about 2 minutes. I have just been repeating and repeating and repeating myself. So I got to a point where artistically I could no longer justify continuing, and I finished with a flourish, and in my head I think, thanks Naples, I guess it's been fun, time to move on. I wrap up the song and the cop looks at me and goes, bravo, and he walks down the street. And it was a totally wasted panic attack. This is February. Thank you very much, my friends. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and thank you for your attention. My name is Vince Conaway. This is the Hammered Dulcimer, and this has been my set. Have a beautiful day, and take care.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. I can't believe he was playing all that hammered on the dulcimer. That's pretty darn cool. Oh, and I like that he showed us his leg, so we knew that he was not naked from the waist down during this stream.
Nope. He had the garb going all the way down.
Right? Thanks for that.
Well, you know, we really have to say that we're glad to be together, at least virtually, for this online Renaissance fair. You know, we're in this pandemic, and the truth is that how we respond in these times of crisis is really dependent on who's in charge. And that thinking about that kind of reminded me of a joke.
Okay, let's hear your joke.
So all of the organs are deciding who's going to be in charge. I should be in charge, said the brain. I run all the body systems. Without me, nothing would happen. I should be in charge, said the heart. I circulate oxygen and nutrients all over. No, I should be in charge, said the stomach. I process the food that gives us energy. I should be in charge, said the legs. Without me, the body couldn't go anywhere. I should be in charge, said the eyes. I allow the body to see where it goes. I should be in charge, said the anus. I'm responsible for waste removal. All of the other body parts laughed at the anus and insulted him. So he shut down. Within a few days, the brain had a terrible headache. The stomach felt bloated. The legs felt watery. The legs got wobbly. The eyes got watery. The heart started to pump toxic blood. They got together and they decided, okay, they better let the anus be the boss. So the moral of that story is that even though everyone else does all the work, the butthole is usually in charge. Oh. But enough about politics. You know what? We wonderful people in charge of this digital festival.
We do. They are so amazing. And without any bribery, they said something special for the end.
Well, really quickly, we just want to say that there is so much work being done behind the scenes to make all of this happen. So we do thank Laura and Alicia for making this happen for everybody, all the artists involved, and for you, the viewers. That's a wonderful, wonderful resource to have these two wonderful ladies providing this. But they did agree to let us do our bawdiest song for you all. Because we're at the end of the podcast. If we get shut down, doesn't matter. We're at the end. So for those of you who know our stuff, we're going to do the bawdiest of our body material. We were just asked to use some personal protective equipment while we did so.
Because this song is so dirty.
That was the only request they made. We're like, sure. All right. Asking for the metro, and you beat me at me to black roll. It may everything easy when you go Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, I hope none of the children watching this
Did you cover their ears?
were too damaged by that.
Whew, that was good. That was good stuff. So we want to thank all of the amazing performers and crafters that were sharing today and on all the previous weeks. That is really nice to share.
I think it was Kafka who said, without art, man is nothing. So these people who have put their heart and souls into making music for you, into doing crafts that are tailor-made for you, these people who are doing feats to entertain you, please support them. And as we roll credits, I would just like to shout out that the song that we are going to play on the credits is a collaboration between Medieval Medicine and one of our favorite sister acts, Better Than None. We miss you guys so much. Thank you for asking us to host today.
I do have one quick thing to put out there, real quick. We are going to be taking a break next week, but we will be back on May 17th with a very special event.
We have some guests for this next song.
Everyone's favorite, totally historically accurate medical professionals, Medieval Medicine Show!
Hey, sisters.
And they're so excited to be here.
So excited.
Yeah. That excitement doesn't seem to be very genuine.
Well, you know, it's just that,
Oh, come on. Are you still upset about that time that we worked together?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little bit. Really, it was tense.
Come on, guys. That's just holy water under the bridge.
That's not a thing.
It's a thing now.
We made it a thing.
A clinic in the heart of London had a reputation outstanding, staffed by fine doctors and nurses
and nuns. We had our hand in.
Oh, don't do that. That is unhygienic.
Hands, elbows, everything.
That's gross. The first patient we saw there had a bad infection with fever. So we pondered the medical options there were for us to treat her.
Oh, we have the best option.
No,
Are they
medical
options?
It's us.
Something like that. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. If someone isn't feeling very good, the best kind of care is a simple thought and prayer. We'll feel better knowing we did all we could.
That is not everything that we could do. There are some medical options you didn't consider.
It's all you need to do.
That's not true.
The second patient we saw there was racked with terrible seizures. So we considered what would be the appropriate medical procedure.
Once again, the nuns have to come in and tell the medical professionals how to do this.
Because you know the proper medical procedure?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's hear it.
Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. If someone isn't feeling very good, the best kind of care is a simple thought and prayer. We'll feel better knowing we did all we could.
Again with the thoughts and prayers,
Is that evidence-based?
Boy, the nuns really believe that works.
It works for, like, all my friends. They're all nuns, but
it works.
The third patient we saw there had leprosy by the look. We immediately consulted the relevant medical book.
Oh, we have the best book.
Harrison's Internal Medicine?
Are there lepers in your book?
so many lepers, guys.
At least 2. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. If someone isn't feeling very good, the best kind of care is a simple thought and prayer. We'll feel better knowing we did all we could.
Oh, come on.
You're just doing the same thing. You're not trying any of our medical options.
Right.
Options, schmoptions.
Try the science.
Science, schmience.
So, okay, what were you going to do with that fever lady then?
Leeches.
And bleedings.
And leeches.
And cuppings.
And alcohol.
And emetics and laxatives.
And some more leeches.
That is a lot of leeches.
It is.
It's good for you.
What about that guy with seizures, huh?
Trepanation.
What is trepanation?
It's when you drill a hole in someone's skull.
Did you not listen to our intro?
It lets out the evil spirits.
And lets God in.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. Oh, what about the leper, huh? Mm-hmm.
We were gonna send him to live with other people who also have leprosy.
So he can die there instead of here.
And you know, it's like we treat tuberculosis and the plague.
Is that really working for us?
You guys aren't doing so well.
Yeah, we're looking better and better over here.
Mm-hmm. How's that chorus go?
Oh, we'll show you.
Thanks.
Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
if someone isn't feeling very good. The best kind of care is a simple thought and prayer. We'll feel better knowing we did all we could.
It's not scientifically backed,
but at least it's low impact.
It's an offer of assistance,
but only from a distance.
It might not lessen pain,
but it's good for political gain.
The patient might still be sick,
but we'll address it with just one click. Oh, sad face emoji.
Parenthesis hugs.
Hugs, hugs, hugs.
Even